Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Friedland Show. Today's date is July 10th, 11th?
I really have to check. I got no idea.
July 12th, 2024. And it is another hot summer in New York. This one's brutal.
Yeah, it's relentless.
Yeah, joining today is Drew Dunn.
Hello. Good to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah, of
course. You were here last. This is the worst summer it's been in a while.
Yeah, it's. I feel like last summer. I mean, I was on the road a lot last summer, but it was. I feel like we had breaks. It was like a couple days it'd be 90, and now it's just like every day I'm sweating my balls off. Every other train, car is no AC. It just sucks. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. What are you doing to stay cool this summer? I have. Truth be told, I've been skipping the podcast. I've not been on the podcast for maybe a month now. I'm not even sure.
Any particular reason, or just not wanting to leave your house, or?
Well, Adam offered to do it. He's like, I can cover it. And I was like, great, yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Why not?
Yeah, take a month.
What does it matter? Right?
Yeah, exactly. No, I just got to the point of being fat enough where I have to carry a rag with me or like a towel just to fucking douse my face and my hair off so I don't look like a sweaty pig in between spots. So that's been fun. There's really not much you can do to like stay cool other than like walk into a random restaurant or something like that. Just
I find
to cool off.
The big hats really help.
The big hat, it looks good on you too.
Somebody gave it to me.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
I would think it would do the opposite. I feel like it would trap in because I feel like when I take this hat off, I'm just a sweaty motherfucker.
You think that? You remember as a kid, you learn about Arabs, and you're like, "What the fuck are they doing? You're in the desert. Why are you wearing like a
that was my first
hotel
reaction.
Collection bed set." It wasn't? You had a different...
No, I mean, it's just funny to be like, what the fuck are they doing? Because that is your first thought as a little white boy in New England when you see a...
you think that would not make sense, but it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But what is the science behind that? Is it just because it's like a light fabric, or is it just like airflow or insulation?
Yeah, I would imagine airflow. It maybe works like a radiator, sort of.
But then you see people in the Caribbean, nobody's wearing hijabs down there. They're no shirt, sandals.
Maybe it's
through
because
the beach.
it's more humid. It's dry heat in the desert.
Yeah, the humidity probably fucks you up if you're wearing all the fabrics and Egyptian silks and shit.
Yeah. And then in Yemen, I don't know what they wear in Yemen. Are you into this whole the Middle East stuff?
Oh, I put bets on it.
Do you?
Yeah. They got it on FanDuel.
It's fun. It's fun to.
It's exciting stuff. I mean, it's fun because it does remind me of like what Hollywood's doing with movies, which they're just doing remakes. It's just the same. Yeah. It seems like the same conflict over and over again.
The Yemen thing is new.
Yemen's new, but it's not really new. It has been happening for like 10 years. We've just been dropping bombs.
The Civil War
on.
has.
Yeah.
But the throughout that Civil War, I mean, they only had I think the Houthis only had like small arms. Now Iran's giving them like missiles and stuff.
Yeah.
And blowing up all these ships. That's awesome.
I think that's great. I think the more global conflict, the better, because it gives us something to talk about. You know, and for me, I'm like, if we're gonna all die in a fiery hellhole, like
I don't think that'll ever happen.
I'm agreeing with you on that. I think like. It's just a distraction. It's just another thing to like, oh, we're going to be... It's like, this feels like the Red Scare fucking 50s. We're all going to get nuked bullshit all over again.
I don't think you're going to have... Yeah, you're not going to have nuclear conflict until we pass a couple of generations where they don't have the shadow of the Cold War cast over them.
I think it will take a corporation coming up with nuclear technology. So, like, that's where I see, like, if there is this big war, it'll be some guy in a fucking ocean base right now who's building a robot army and figuring out how to make nukes.
I don't think they're allowed to do that.
Yeah, but if you're trying to, like, make a new world order or something like that.
There's stuff, like, in U.S. law, there's something called, like, a natural-born secret.
Okay.
Where, like... because we have like freedom of expression and freedom of thought.
Right.
Like I think legally, even if you're in your own head, you don't even write it down, you come up with an idea for cold fusion, the government just owns it and you're not allowed to tell anybody.
Interesting. Yeah. But don't you think they would just buy it out and hire you and put you in a base themselves?
They would probably offer you some money, but they do own it.
But don't you think, I mean, when you leave, like let's say you came up with cold fusion, when you just
and I don't think it's
because
cold fusion's like an energy solution, but if you came up with, I think, because we already have like thermonuclear, weapons.
Right.
But the actual technology is secret. I don't think that, like, like they say, like Iran can develop a nuclear bomb.
Right.
I think that's just a fission bomb. Right. You're talking about like just
what we made in the 40s kind of thing.
Yeah,
not
that
the
kind
new
of thing.
big, huge 40 times the size of that nuke.
A fusion bomb using a uranium explosion to make fucking, turn hydrogen into helium, whatever that process is.
Right.
I think that's still pretty like secret technology. And if you were to figure it out, like even if you couldn't go to like the New York Times and be like, hey, check this out. It's like
interesting.
Yeah.
Not that I'm sure you would. I think if you're the guy working on nuclear experiments in your basement, you're probably trying to keep that secret as long as possible until you try and do something. But I mean, I think we're way more likely to have just random little terrorist attacks or conflicts or fights like that. That's more of the threat, I think, as far as like a war breaking out in the United States. Less likely that a nuke just comes out of nowhere and drops it. I mean, and also I'm not really worried about that. I'm pretty sure we have UFOs. I'm pretty sure we're going to be fine. Like if we have nukes and UFOs, who's going to fuck with us?
You think we actually have UFOs?
I think we have something. I think we have some crazy, dark, secret. You don't have that big of a military budget and don't experiment.
Do you think it's aliens or do you think it's ancient civilizations that left technology somewhere in the ocean?
It might be both.
Yeah.
I think what we're probably seeing a lot of UFOs is more than likely what we're experimenting with and trying to recreate. I don't think a lot of it is aliens coming to visit from another world. I love the ancient apocalypse theory.
Do you watch that show, Ancient Aliens?
I don't watch Ancient Aliens because they get a little. I've seen bits of it, but that
show's amazing.
They get a little too out.
It's amazing.
I love hearing the theories, but for me, they always take it one step too far. Where I'm like, you didn't need to say that's what that was.
I know, because it's always all of this like insane conjecture, but then throughout the episode, it gets crazier and crazier.
Yes, exactly.
Because it'll start off like radiocarbon dating shows that they were building these immense structures thousands of years before they should have been able to.
Right.
And look at this stick figure.
And that's where I'm in. I'm like, this is great.
Look at this stick figure. Yeah. Tell me that's not an alien.
Yeah, right.
Right. It's like, tell me that's not.
Yeah.
Tell me that stick figure is not an alien.
Yeah.
It's taller than the other stick figures.
It's not that nobody knew how to draw back then.
Yeah, right.
It's that they were just figuring out how elbows worked.
Yeah.
No, I love that stuff. Because just the idea that we don't have it all figured out and that there are some mistakes in our past line of history is exciting to me.
Well, even with, we don't have it figured out. And also, like, technology isn't like, it's not like you figure something out and then we just have the ability. I mean, even in your own life, I'm sure you've done that, like, where everything's on YouTube now. So let's say your fucking laptop breaks. You seem like a smart guy. Your laptop breaks and you're like, well, I don't want to pay Apple fucking $500 to replace the screen.
Right.
Maybe I can try getting a replacement screen myself and see how hard it is to disassemble this laptop.
Totally. Yeah.
And so you watch a video. You watch the video. You do it successfully, and you're like, oh yeah, now I know how to open up a MacBook Pro and put a new screen in this thing. Give it 2 years, and you're like, where do you start? And you're like, I don't.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like, that's how NASA works. Like all the technology we developed to go to the moon. It's like all of those like rocket engines, those like F1 engines, they were all like hand built, and it was like.
Yeah, by one dude who had the idea, and now they're looking back 40 years later, and they're like, how the fuck did Mark do that, dude?
We're trying to go back to the moon, I guess, next year.
Yeah, I was reading about this for a while. It's the Artemis program.
Artemis program, and you know what? I don't consider myself to be actually prejudiced in any way. I say things that are like, rude jokes or whatever, but I've always been like, I don't think I'm like prejudiced, and there's no. Like, I've never been bothered before about, like, the idea of a black president, that doesn't bother me.
Sure.
The idea of a black lady president doesn't bother me.
Right.
But then I found out with the Artemis program that they're sending a woman of color and a gay man to the moon.
Specifically. It's like they're casting Survivor.
And that was the first time I was like, no. No. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's there should be one thing that white guys get to keep.
Yeah.
And it's the moon.
It's at least the moon.
It's the moon.
It is white after all.
That's ours. We were the only ones that went there.
Yep.
As soon as the civil rights movement started, they said burn the files.
Yeah, right.
Forget it. We're not fucking, Werner von Braun was a Nazi. Let's destroy all of his work. We're not going back to the moon. No one's going to the moon.
I mean, there's the whole conspiracy theory that we never went to the moon and all that stuff, and we
Yeah.
can't get through the radiation belts and all that. I'm not sure I buy any of that. I mean, I think we went to the moon. I think NASA and the government.
Is that the argument? Is that there's too much radiation?
There's
because
the
radiation is it's
some sort of radiation belt that comes from our poles and goes around, and that supposedly you're not. If you send a human through that, they would just die immediately. But I
they
don't.
can measure that level of
That's
radiation.
what I'm saying.
And it's
And then,
something like because the moon is a 6 to 8 day trip.
right
To go up there and that level of exposure, it is elevated. It puts you at like I think the number is like 5 to 10% more risk of cancer over your lifetime.
Sure.
But it's not like being put in a microwave.
Yeah, but I think like
With Mars, I think that's the problem, is because it's a much longer exposure period.
Yeah, you're there for a long time, and the whole muscle dystrophy and all this other stuff that you have with being in space. But yeah, I just would you go to the moon if you had the option to?
Absolutely fucking not. No chance.
I don't know. I don't think I'd want
I
to.
won't even ride in those. You ever go in a building and they have like the elevators where you have to like close the door?
Yeah, that's my
yourself?
building, and
yeah, I'm like, no, I'm not using this.
you don't want to get strapped into a rocket.
This is from before they figured out what the fucking elevator is supposed to be. I'm not, doing the machine's job.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I do think about that because like I think about like William Shatner getting blasted into a rocket by Blue Origin just to like barely even leave the stratosphere and come back down. I'm like, how much riskier is that than just getting on a fucking Delta flight these days? Or is it to the point where it will be routine enough one day that it will just be like going to the airport and you just get in a rocket and launch yourself to Japan or go to a space station hotel for a month?
I'm sure someday. Probably.
But but right now it's like,
no,
it's way too crazy. There's no way. Yeah, I won't even get on most roller coasters. I won't fuck that.
And then
shit.
I have to really ask myself, if the rocket that's got the black lady and the gay man in it were to blow up.
Right.
We're watching I'm at a bar. We're celebrating this. Wow, we're finally putting a black lady and a gay man.
Finally.
And the rocket blows up, and then I have to look around the bar being like, oh, no. What will my internal monologue be?
Yeah, it's less hard hitting than the school teacher that died on the whatever fucking the Challenger.
Yeah. Didn't Columbia also blow up?
Yeah.
Both the shuttles blew up.
Yeah, we're pretty solid at blowing up shuttles. It'll be interesting to see if we've gotten any better at it once we start doing this Artemis thing. Because you would hope with
Artemis is more privatized than the ones prior. I think the space shuttle, was that made by Boeing, or is that?
I think so. Or there was a lot of involvement. I think it was one of those things like they were just trying to get every bit
SpaceX
from everywhere
is doing the rockets for the Artemis program.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if there's anybody who's done enough trial and error on their stuff, it would be them. It still blows my mind that we can that we can just land rockets like it's nothing, and that nobody thought of trying that for a long time. We were just launching them.
Well, I think they had to develop that specifically because there's like less gravity on the moon, so the lunar lander was like less of a struggle than for Mars, because Mars has like pretty significant gravity.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly a lot more than the moon. It's like maybe 75% of Earth or something, or more. I don't know.
And that's why when we landed those drones on there, they just had like that big balloon basically that they just throw it into a bouncy ball.
They can't use parachutes either because there's no atmosphere.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think? Do you think we end up living on Mars in like a couple hundred years? Do you think that's even an option, or is this like just crazy? Because it just seems kind of silly to me to be like, we're gonna destroy this planet, so let's go to a destroyed planet. It's like, don't you think it'd be better to just let this one get destroyed and fix this one? It'll probably be. It's like looking at it like a car that needs like a new transmission. And then looking at like a Dodge Dart that's been in the yard for 100 years. And be like, we should go fix that car.
In my mind, it makes more sense to like, well, shouldn't we figure out how to build underwater cities first?
Yeah, if the world's gonna flood,
or colonize Antarctica.
Right.
Something. I mean, that and the fact that we can't do that, it's like
Or sky cities like the Jetson. We can't have anything that
there's still not a
consensus
consensus on like what kind of pants you need to buy to go to Antarctica.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, we seem very far from figuring it out.
Yeah. North Face is just lying to everybody.
Yeah, it's fucking up to minus 50 degrees and you'll be fine. Then I watch dudes on YouTube. They're like, "This is not working. I'm freezing to death." Like,
Right. So I would go. I mean, I would definitely live in an underwater city.
Yeah, I think that would be fun, but it's also just as dangerous as
I would have to be
living in
drunk
space.
the whole time.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you be?
I would have to be like some like
I'm not gonna go down there and start doing
just
science.
like a weird homo that wears like tuxedos all the time, and I'm always trashed.
They do need that, because if it gets too formal down there in those underwater bases, people get a little uppity. They'll be like, we don't deal with surface dwellers. They do need one guy in a tuxedo who looks like he's lost from his friends at a bachelor party to like reel him in back to reality.
Yeah.
You're just fishing out the window.
A little pencil mustache.
yeah. You're always touching people a little too much.
Would you live on Mars?
No, I think it would be like... I think I'd have to lose everything here. I would have to be like in a John Wick situation where they killed my dog and my family, and I don't know how to fight or shoot guns well enough to
that might be
fix
John Wick 5.
John Wick 5.
He's on Mars now.
He goes there's still a hotel with the guy at it, and he sticks the coin, he gets a fucking ray gun and starts shooting aliens. Yeah, I think that would be probably the only situation I would end up in trying to go to another planet, is like, I need to do that revenge story, and I don't have the capacity to do it, so then I just leave and try something else.
Yeah, it does seem pretty unfair and depressing that, like, the other planets, especially, even the ones, because Mars, the moon I get, it's the moon, whatever. That makes sense that there's nothing there.
Yeah.
But Mars, it's fucking hard to get to Mars. I think there should already be like oxygen or something. Or there should be like a pond.
Yeah, there should be at least.
There should be something.
Like an ice skating rink at least, if it's cold enough instead of the pond.
It's pretty fucked up that it's just completely like, oh, well, we got to make an atmosphere. It's like, that's...
Yeah, and then Elon was like, oh, we just got to nuke the poles and it'll be totally fine. I'm
and
like,
that's what I mean. He says stuff like that, and it's like, you just have a lot of money.
Yeah,
these are not ideas that like a fucking like.
That's what I mean. If there's a dude working on nukes in his basement right now, it's Elon Musk. Yes, we made nuclear fusion.
Yeah,
we're going to nuke Mars. Try and figure out how to get gay and black women to Mars. It'll be very good.
Yeah, what's the thinking with that? The nuking the poles?
Something
it
about
creates pressure to create an atmosphere. Or something?
I'm too stupid to know what it is, but yeah, something about it kind of reignites the magnetic poles or something like that, which would slowly make a magnetosphere.
Isn't that the premise of the movie The Core? They have to drill to the core of the Earth and restart because the Earth is losing.
Yeah, they have to go put something in the core to make it do its thing.
But then the poles wouldn't do it. You would have to drill to the center of Mars and then.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it depends on who's doing more sound science, Elon Musk or the producers of The Core.
I think the producers of The Core.
Yeah, I think they did.
Because The Core came out in that, and this is that I like to complain about this. I remember growing up, you'd go see movies, right? And the movies would just be, especially in the 90s, they'd focus on, those big blockbuster movies, the high concept movies, where it's mostly just a story. They do no research into really the underlying thing, like Top Gun or whatever. They consulted with the Navy, and then the Navy was coming in and being like, well, that's not how any of this works. And they said, shut up. We're just going to show you how. Our job is to make people like movies.
Right,
Like, we're not going to make the Navy look bad, but yeah.
But that was still a big selling point of that movie, I think, of like, wow, they worked with the Navy for this, dude. It's official.
It's propaganda.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
People complain about it. They'd be like, oh, it's not technically accurate. And then this weird era started of like, well, we'll get a lot of consultants and we will make it technically accurate.
Right.
But for the sake of like, this is a boring movie. This is a boring and shitty movie.
I don't want to see a documentary. I came here to watch Tom Cruise do something that, fucking Terry Crews was actually the pilot can't do. You know what I mean? Like,
I would say because they did that with. I feel like Interstellar was kind of now we've reached a better place. But
Interstellar was great.
Interstellar, it's not a bad movie, but the way people were sucking that movie off for being like, oh, and that's actually how it would happen. It's like, I don't care.
Yeah. Also, you don't you don't fucking know that.
I don't need it to be real.
Right.
Also, all I'm going to say when you tell me that is like, well, no, it isn't.
Right.
It's also no, it isn't, because we're not going through black holes to go to other.
Yeah, you'll probably die.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Right.
Oh yeah, no, Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
You go behind your bookshelf.
Oh, we talked to a guy in Princeton and said, if you wanted to travel through time to talk to your bull-dyke daughter, how would you do it? How would you make that happen?
That was very simple, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's where but at the same time, some of the silliness in movies like that can take me out of it. Like Gravity, that's what happened to me. I'm like, really? Sandra Bullock's just flying around the fucking
Gravity, but that's what I mean. That Gravity I thought was great because it's like visually very pretty,
very pretty, very fun to watch. But
and there are major plot holes in that movie.
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It's like the whole premise is this woman's son dies, and so now she is sort of static in life. She's paralyzed by the death of it's her son or her daughter. I can't remember. Her child dies, and she can't do anything. They present this character as if she's just been stuck since her child died, and it's like, you're an astronaut in fucking space. What do you mean you like? I just can't. I haven't been able to peel myself off the couch. It's like you went to fucking space.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I could brush my teeth this morning because I don't have a child to smile at anymore. Well, time to apply to NASA and get like a fucking PhD.
Guess I'll just do the hardest thing to do in a career. Yeah.
And then my favorite part about it is the movie opens, and I saw it when it came out, so I don't even remember if this is accurate. So who's the other person in the movie? George Clooney?
Clooney, yeah.
Yeah. They're in space, like outside of the ship, working on like the space station or something.
Right.
And he just sort of floats up to her. He's like, so what's your deal? I'm like, this is the first time they're meeting.
Yeah.
These
people
have never had a substantive conversation.
None of the
ever.
Training,
none of that.
And greet,
until
nothing.
Now, when you're floating around in space together, fixing the spaceship.
Yeah, small talk while you're just floating around in space is pretty fucking wild. Mm-hmm. Pretty wild.
I love when I get just indignant about something and I'm yelling about it, and then my pockets are just emptying.
Your keys are
my
falling
pants
out.
are falling down. Yeah,
it's a real passion that you have about Clooney.
Uh-huh. I love this show. Did you watch Biden's press conference last
I watched
night?
bits and pieces. It was hard to stomach watching the whole thing. I get so like cringe in my chest when he says Putin. I'm just like, you fuck.
Well, they delayed it for like an hour, so I ended up watching just CNN for an hour.
Okay.
And then CNN goes to Bakari Sellers. He's like, I find it really disappointing that there wasn't more wagon circling around this issue. And then after the debate performance, all of these conversations were aired publicly on news networks.
Yeah.
And he's like, and you got, George Clooney writing this letter. And it's like, what are the wagons in your mind?
What did Clooney write?
Clooney, because Biden, I don't know, there was some kind, I didn't actually follow this story.
Okay.
My understanding is that Amal Clooney, formerly known as George Clooney's wife, Amal Clooney, she is involved in somehow in either the ICC case against Netanyahu or the ICJ case against the state of Israel with South Africa or something. I don't know, because she's a human rights lawyer, which I guess is sort of like a hobby that she has outside of being George Clooney's wife.
Yeah.
And so she was involved in the case, and the administration either rebuked the case or Amal Clooney in particular, and then George Clooney wrote some letter or called the White House or something like that. But yeah, Bakari Sellers was complaining that the wagons weren't circled, and he's imagining some caravan that includes George Clooney and Stacey Abram, whatever is going on in his mind, there needs to be that level of collusion where George Clooney should have privately called him first.
Yeah.
Before criticizing the president.
Very weird. Yeah. I think that this is the best time to criticize a president or a candidate.
I think he should have done SNL right after the debate.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
Because even if he did terrible, he would be like, I was joking.
Yeah. It's all jokes, folks.
It's supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
That would have been bulletproof. That's why these guys are all idiots. That would be like a day one answer.
Totally.
If I saw that debate performance, I'm sitting in the White House. I'm like, call up Lorne Michaels, get Biden, have him host it now.
Yes.
Record it now.
Make him do a parody of himself on the show.
We keep him awake all night.
Yeah. And by all night, you mean until 8:30 p.m.
Next time we have to, until we have to shoot SNL.
Yeah.
Do not let that man get a wink of sleep. Make sure he is as sundowned as possible.
Yeah. He's just dozing off.
And then send him out.
Live from New York.
Wow, it's great to be here on Mad TV.
Oh yeah, Mad TV is one of my favorites. Whoa,
That would have worked.
Yeah.
It would have worked. Because people would be like, "Oh, he's joking."
Oh, it's always a bit.
Yeah.
Because then if he could get that endearing, like a lot of people criticize George W., but he did have that like silly, endearing quality to him, where he was just kind of like that little kid that was always around, just like, look at him, he's doing that. That little laugh was like, Biden doesn't have that endearing, like, he said something silly. It's like, geez, it's kind of concerning.
Well, Bush was ineloquent, but like Biden's, like, it's very funny to watch that press conference, and then you watch or you read like print coverage, and they transcribe what Biden said, and it's like, I understand that was the thrust of the sentence, but that's not how it was said.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not doing exact quotes here.
Yeah.
This is
and he's doing this new thing now where he's like leaning in and whispering.
Oh yeah.
He'll be like, they all said that if my plan was gonna then that inflation was gonna go through, that it was gonna be the worst it ever was, and then he'll lean in and go, and guess what? It didn't happen. He's like doing this, but his body's too slow. That was probably a thing he could have pulled off 40 years ago.
Yeah, or I think he thinks he's talking at a normal volume.
And his weird skeletal, like, rheumatic hand
keeps,
like, coming up, and he's, like, placing it like a claw over the podium.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm President of the United States. It is. It's a whisper, and then sometimes he'll just go and yell. And then it'll go back.
He started yelling at one point about, like, gun violence.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. He's like, more child dies! And then he just got quiet again.
That's fun. It's fun that he's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what our options are. I think we don't know if anyone who's running is going to be alive or free by the time the election actually happens. So it'll be fun. I think.
I think it'll just be Trump gets elected, and then
I think so. Unfortunately,
and then he just does whatever.
I mean,
the investors tell him to do.
And I don't.
It's pretty. It's uneventful, and
my only problem with
Trump, there probably be a lot of just violence, like you said, between groups of people. There'll be riots, and people will kill each other, and then Trump will sit there and go, "Wow, that's really terrible.
It's awful. It's so bad. Wow, these people.
That's terrible that they did that.
We're so sad about these people. I had nothing to do with it, but these people, they're so crazy, these people."
Yeah. And then that's it. and then we never hear about it.
And we'll move right on to the next thing, and he'll say something crazy. And the only thing that affects my day to day with Trump being elected is people get vilified against trying to find out if you're left or right.
How about this? We do Artemis.
Oh yeah.
And they send him up there. And then because of the riots, Trump doesn't let him come back.
Yeah. That's
We're leaving the black lady up there.
We're going to leave him up there. No, if any other gay people want to go to the moon, we're going to do free sign-ups for all the gays and blacks.
He's fucking the moon. Say he's fucking the
moon. He's fucking the moon. We don't want that. He's having sex with the moon. We have pictures.
I don't know. We asked the scientists. We think he gave the moon AIDS.
We're still doing a lot of tests. It's hard to tell. Moon age is brand new. It's a new science.
There we go. Now we're cooking. That's good. You got Elon. You got Trump. Who else you got?
Fuck. I mean,
do you have any? Because obviously you do impressions.
I do impressions. I do more voices and characters than impressions.
Everybody that does impressions is. I feel like across the board, there's people that do impressions, and you feel like I can do these because they're in the toolkit.
Yeah.
But then you always got one that's that's you. You do this one.
Oh yeah,
that's yours.
One of the first impressions I ever did was the David Attenborough from Planet Earth. That was one of my favorite types of people when we're talking about planet Earth.
That's probably very accurate. I'm having trouble remembering what he actually sounds like because in my mind, it's just. I mean, it could be Jason Statham.
Yeah,
it's just any British person.
That and one I've been doing lately is RFK Jr. Just because
that's tough.
That one's a tough one. You have to pretend like you're shaking while you're talking.
Yeah.
As if you're getting pushed down a laundry basket down the stairs.
There's like an additional. There's something else about his voice.
Yeah.
Where it's like every third word he's sucking in air.
Yeah. It's like that. It's a lot.
Yeah. That makes it very hard. I can't listen. I've never heard more than 7 words.
It's hard. I listened to his Rogan just because I was trying to figure out what this guy was about and if it was him being this extremist anti-vax guy that they say he is in the mass media or if he's just guy. But I had to break it up for 3 hours straight to listen to that. It's a lot with the environment and acid rain.
It's crazy. That war is still going on. There's still like people. There's on one side. There's still the pandemic is still going on.
I know.
People.
I know.
And then there's also the people that are still anti-vax, and it's like you have to understand. People could be dropping like flies from the vaccine right now,
right?
And no one would care,
right?
We've got bigger issues at hand. They're trying to put a gay man on the moon.
I know. We need to stay focused on what really matters.
I'm sorry, but it's what point do you say enough is enough?
The gay man on the moon, I think, is the line. I think once Bruce Jenner wants to go to space, I think people will really be that'll be the final straw.
Are they Bruce again? Or?
Oh, fuck. Yeah, fucking up. There you go.
You don't care. No one who watches this show.
Clip it and ship it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever they want to be.
I wound up on the penis making subreddit.
That's a fun.
Phalloplasty. Because every once in a while I'll check in and see how the surgeries are doing.
Sure.
And
as a good American should.
They have. It's really getting close.
Yeah.
It's really getting close. They're doing impressive stuff. Once they can figure out how to not like have to use half your arm.
Yeah.
I mean that's the crazy. The amount that goes into making a dick.
Yeah.
They're like
you would think it would be easier to make a dick than a pussy.
Yeah.
Too.
Well, no, because you'll see these posts on that subreddit where it'll be have their cock. First of all, they're getting huge cocks. That's a guy.
Of course.
There's a black guy on there that, I mean, maybe because he's like black, they're like, well, I guess it should be huge.
He's just missing his arm. They took the whole thing.
It's crazy. I mean, like they show, he's like, just got the surgery done. It's right post-op surgeries. I mean, it's like.
It's got a wrist.
It's beyond like even an eggplant. I mean, it's just fucking this enormous cock. And then you zoom out on the picture, and then it looks like the sex toy, where it's just they've cut everything off.
Oh my god!
Just to make this thing. But,
yeah, I don't know. If you could change your dick, would you? Like if you had the option to go in and get that surgery for free?
No, I'm too old. I don't fucking care.
I'm the same way. I'm like, plus this is just my dick now. I don't
That's
need
the nice thing about you get older and then you start having like heart problems and joint problems, and you realize like how fragile and irreplaceable every other part of your body is.
Yeah.
And you're like, I would do the reverse. If I had carpal tunnel syndrome, I'd say, dude, cut that off and put the...
Give me another 10.
I know it works one way. Make it work the other. Give me a new wrist because I don't have any feeling in this finger anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it just went away on this side. The nerve was compressed or something.
Yeah, if we take a little bit of your dick.
Just cut my dick off and get... I'm tired of getting paper cuts all the time because I can't fucking feel my hand.
Yeah.
It's just there's this weird dull burning sensation whenever I do the dishes.
There really is a subreddit for everything.
Yeah, but
to go specific enough to watch people just make their new dicks is like we're hitting every category.
Yeah. No, they've really dialed it in. And I remember I feel like it's comics. I've heard this argument, or I used to see it on stage about like the trans surgeries about if that's fine if you're FTM. Like to get the phalloplasty, but they shouldn't be allowed to have a huge cock.
Yeah, you should have to have
and
the
you're forgetting
average.
Something. It's like they had to live as a woman for 20 years.
Right.
Give them the huge cock.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, they know what they wanted.
They earned that. They had
100%.
No dick.
If you took some dick, you can get whatever size dick you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah, I don't think there should be any restrictions. If there were to be one, I would say you have to do whatever the national average is of the country you're transitioning in. That's what you have to
You know what's
lock
crazy too, and this is something that they have that I think maybe it's a little bit of a bonus. This is where it gets into unfair territory. Their dicks get bigger when they get fatter.
Oh, because it pushes it out instead of like absorbing it?
No, because it gets fatter.
Oh, the dick itself gets fatter.
Yeah, because they make it out of like, what do you call it, like adipose tissue or whatever.
Yeah,
so it'll gain weight also, so they get a fatter...
Oh, man. I was picturing like Wagyu beef, like it's getting like in between the muscle seams. I'm like, how long until that's a delicacy in some country is eating trans cock?
I'm telling you, I looked at this forum and... You got to do some like 24 zoom in enhance level fucking pinching to really be like, okay, I see where this is.
Right.
I see what's going on here.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty. Yeah.
That's exciting. I mean, the idea that you could eat enough to give yourself a bigger dick. I mean, I thought I was doing that for a while.
Yeah,
you know, didn't
no,
work
it's
out.
the opposite.
Everywhere but the dick, actually.
Yeah. If you're
really resists.
If you're a cis man, it's the opposite.
It's
but
tough.
Yeah, for them.
Yeah. Maybe we could transition back just to get a fat filling cock.
Yeah, but you have to go the whole way.
But then my dick would be unhealthy. It would have like a beer gut. It wouldn't be looking very, very good. Or not that it looks great now. I'm married anyway, so it doesn't really get shown off.
It doesn't
too
matter.
much.
Yeah,
right.
It
doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't need a cock transfer.
Yeah, I don't know what surgery. I got a gum graft that failed a couple months ago.
So you wouldn't have much faith in a...
Well, it's not that I wouldn't have much faith. I only brought it up to say that they have to like reschedule it and they want to do it again. And I'm like, I kind of don't want to. I mean, they said I should, but...
Yeah, but they'll always say you should.
Yeah.
The dentist will always say, like, you really should take care of it. And sometimes they're right. Like, I've not listened to them and had, like, a tooth feel like it was going to explode in my head and be tortured for a few days. But
to do it, they had to cut, like, a pretty significant portion of the top of my mouth off.
Yeah, I've had that done. They take it off and then they try and put it on there to stop the gun from receding.
It didn't, like, it's healed now, but I feel like I can't really feel it. And it's kind of weird. And I don't know. I mean, maybe it's like an emotional thing, but after I didn't think about it going in, I'm like, oh, this is a thing I need. The same thing as if I needed a root canal or anything else.
Right.
I'll just go in and do it. But it's like getting it done. It makes you feel very like I felt very like vulnerable and like I lost something.
Sure.
It was like emotionally pretty tough.
Yeah.
Know? So
yeah.
I don't know if I could really handle any kind of surgery.
Yeah, that was.
I've never broken a bone or anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've never had any kind of significant medical issue.
Yeah, the only significant thing I've had medical wise, like I had my tonsils taken out as a kid, all that shit. But I had an ulcer when I was 21. I had this bacteria called H. pylori, which I guess half of America
a lot of
has,
people have.
Yeah, apparently now they're tying it to cancer and all this other shit if it just stays in your body. But I had an ulcer like explode in my stomach. I was working at this inn and conference center at the time, and I was about to run this brunch for like 300 people. Just feeling awful. I had like burps that just taste like death, and I go to the bathroom, throw up, and it threw up what looked like coffee grounds, like used coffee.
I had that.
grounds.
I had that happen one time. I threw up. I drank a bunch, and then I threw up like little black flakes.
Yeah, little black flakes.
Like
it tasted like death. I was just like, what is that? And I Googled it, and it was like, oh, you're bleeding internally. It's blood mixing with stomach bile.
Yeah,
that's like doing all that, and then I ended up leaving work. Almost got fired for it. She was like, "Where?" My boss was like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "I'm going to the hospital. I think I'm going to die." She's like, "No, you're not."
I think I gave myself an ulcer from going to White Castle one time when I was like 25.
Really?
Yeah, because it was like 6 months. I would wake up every single night with this searing pain in my stomach, and I would have to like roll over on all fours to wait for it to go away, and I could get back to sleep. But it would wake me up every single night.
Yeah, that's what it was for me for a while. It was like through the last couple years of high school and into college, it was just like the searing pain right here. There's nothing I could do. No matter what I would eat, it wouldn't matter. I went on all these crazy diets. Nothing really worked. And then eventually I just said fuck it and dealt with it. And then I was drinking a coffee in the morning and it fucking exploded. Ended up in the hospital for like 3 days. I had to get 5 or 6 bags of blood put back into me. And yeah, it was pretty brutal. But that was like, luckily I was still on my parents' insurance because I was young enough at that point. Because if that happened now, it would be a fucking nightmare.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But they're... you can't. I know it passed in New York last winter, but if you have to go to the emergency room for something, you just don't have to pay the bill anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they can't report it to the credit agencies. It'll go to
That's right. They passed that.
It'll go to collections, and then collections is going to have to sue you. But like, if they do, then you could just deal with that. I mean,
yeah, and there's a thing with medical debt too that they have to accept any amount of payment. And if you could only afford $10 and you try and give them a $10 payment and they don't accept it, the debt is forgiven.
Yeah, I think you have to set up a payment plan.
Yeah,
it has to be like I can give you $5 every month for the next 400 years.
Yeah. I mean, it's getting to the point now. Like
but it is bullshit. I mean, that shit should be free.
My buddy just had a hemorrhoid removed. The surgery was $84,000. Was what he was billed.
There is literally no argument against just making it free.
I mean, the argument that is given is that people don't want to pay for other people's shit, but they're already doing that.
That's not even really how taxes work.
No.
The government prints money to buy all the stuff. They set a budget, and then they print all the money to pay for it, and then you use taxes to take money out of circulation.
Right.
So it's like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Just make it free.
Just make it happen.
It's also it's like it's not a system that anyone can really take advantage of. You know what I mean? Of all the entitlement programs, it's the one like not that I'm making this argument. Like you would have to be pretty sinister to do so. But you could say like food stamps, it's like well, yeah, food stamps work, but they shouldn't be able to get dessert.
Yeah.
And it's like they shouldn't be able to buy ice cream with it or you know, stuff like that because you're an asshole. But you can't even really do that with free healthcare. They're like, "Oh, what? They could just go get an appendectomy for fun?"
Yeah,
it's like, what are you talking about?
There's very few people. I mean, I do know some people who are always sick, that they always have something going on, and there's nothing. It's a symptomless.
That in and of itself is a medical condition. If you go into a doctor several times and you don't have something, it should be on the doctor to determine, okay, this is psychological.
Now you go talk to a psychiatrist.
Now you go talk to a therapist for free to resolve this issue. You know, it's like...
And it's a way to, I mean, as far as like big pharma goes, you would think they would be the ones that are up in arms against it. They're still going to get paid. Yeah. And you're going to be able to get all these pills to way more people than ever that wouldn't have even had access to going to the doctor and getting the pain pills. Now you can just fucking shovel it all down everybody's throat. There's more money for everybody. You know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, it's getting to the point now, like $84,000 for a hemorrhoid surgery. You're almost cheaper to fucking go to medical school, take most of the degree, learn how to do it yourself, and do it in your fucking bathroom. Take the hemorrhoid off yourself. Yeah. Yeah,
that's another thing. I don't think I will ever know if I have a hemorrhoid. Either I've never had a hemorrhoid or I've had hemorrhoids my entire life.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm like, there's something, it's a mess back there.
Yeah, so, right. And people are like, well, you can look. I'm like, how?
Yeah, how many mirrors do you need in your house?
What? Yeah,
you need that like Egyptian setup where they put light in the bottom of the pyramid through 9 mirrors just to look at my asshole.
To divine, and then I can figure out when Ra's coming back.
Yes, exactly.
At the same time, yeah. Yeah, I'll never look at my asshole, I don't think.
No, I don't think there's a need to. Yeah. And plus, that's why I have a wife, you know. She can take a look if I have any real dire medical situations.
I think that's why we developed bipedalism. I think that's why humans got smart. I think we developed bipedalism first.
Yeah.
And then you couldn't suck your own dick or look at your own asshole.
Yeah. You see those monkeys?
Like, well, I got to figure out something else to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, oh, I'll make a computer.
Right. That is a lot of the progress.
I'll invent the iPhone.
If you can't suck your own dick, you get a lot more done than if you could, dude. Look at those monkeys in the zoo. They're just sitting there jerking off onto the fucking glass screen all day.
Oh, shit. My stopwatch turned off, Pete. Oh, shit. Well, today's episode is brought to you by Blue Chew, which that's not what this is. Blue Chew. You ever used Blue Chew?
No, I haven't. Not yet.
Blue Chew. Well, I got plenty of them if you want. You want to try it out?
Give it a rip on my pregnant wife?
Yeah, definitely. Kill your baby.
Yeah, go see if I can't hit the kid.
Please review the entire document for an update on do nots. All right. So, do not use... Okay. I got it. So what Blue Chew is it's a chewable pill, and they have 3 different, it's not one medicine, it's 3 different medicines. It's tadalafil, sildenafil, and then there's a third type. And broadly speaking, I think they're all vasodilators.
Okay.
Or they do what? Like maybe it makes more NOx in your blood or something, and then maybe that's what I don't know how they work, but in general, there's 3 types. The tadalafil is the one where it's like you can kind of just sort of take that at the top of the day.
Okay.
And then it just is like a general thing whenever you need it. The tadalafil is more like, I gotta fuck now.
Okay.
I'm in Vegas. I've only paid for 30 minutes.
Right.
You know.
Right.
That's what that one's for. And then the other one I think is for liberals. I'm not sure. I don't really have too much information on that one.
Right. That makes sense.
I imagine it's like if you wear khakis and you have like a boat that you're restoring.
Right. Right.
You know, you have like an old sailboat that's your thing, and then. Yeah. Sometimes you and your wife go out on the big tree swing together.
Yeah, if you tie a sweater around your upper neck.
It's for coming in your pants to your wife who's addicted to crossword puzzles.
That's fun.
And has fun purple glasses and a Jamie Lee Curtis haircut.
Yeah.
That's
and multiple flower tattoos.
Yeah. That one's who's that for. So that's for the old folks, I'm assuming.
That makes
the
sense.
other ones are for young guys that are just looking to take some pills.
Yeah,
you know?
just trying to add to that regimen.
Yeah, right. Let's
throw it in
stuff.
with the vitamin D3 and everything else, and just pop it and see what happens.
They taste good. They taste like Smarties. I'll be honest with you. I keep coming back just for the taste.
Oh, that's fine. That's gotta fuck up the next few hours of your day. But
they added stuff to the do not, so I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not. But I think there is some evidence that for tadalafil, like a regular, just taking it regularly is like might be good for your vascular health in general.
Oh, okay, just to keep blood moving through your body.
I've had issues with like high blood pressure and stuff, and I'm not. Look, I do the best that I can. I went to 2 cardiologists, and they're like, either you can get on medicine or just try to cut out the not so much salt and red meat and stuff.
Yeah, but you're like keep the salt, keep the red meat, and just add Blue Chew into the mix.
Pills and
see if you can't just walk around.
No, a lot of beets and grapefruit. I think that helps. But they work. They're great, and it makes you. I don't know all the dumb shit in there about like you're gonna be killing it in the fucking bedroom.
Oh yeah.
You guys know.
Up your performance today with Blue Chew.
We don't need to explain what dick pills are.
No, everyone gets it.
You guys understand how they work.
We knew it from the Viagra commercials of people sitting in bathtubs on the front of their lawns.
That this stuff is better though because it's not as embarrassing as the older.
Yeah. It doesn't have the kind of connotations that you have with like a Viagra's like an old dick guy pill.
Yeah, it's for Bob Dole.
Right. Exactly. It's like your dick don't work. Bob Dole.
Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex, so discover your options at BlueChew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code TAFS at checkout. Just pay $5 for shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code TAFS to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast. What I would recommend, I don't know if you can really do it because I think you need to. This is my suggestion of Blue Chew is part of this deal. You should send the sampler pack with like the 3.
Yeah.
Because if you really don't, it's got to be a thing where you kind of like have to feel the difference between.
Yeah, you want to see what each one's doing to you in a day to day.
Yeah, because my personal experience, I don't particularly like the tadalafil, the sildenafil, and I might be confusing the two.
Does it make you feel weird, like in your head or your body?
Yeah, one of them makes your entire body like swollen.
Oh, interesting.
I might have had an allergic reaction.
I might be on it right now.
Yeah. But I remember it's like my dick was hard, but also my nose was stuffy.
Oh, interesting.
It was like just swollen.
Oh, interesting.
But then the other one works exactly the way it's supposed to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So go there, experiment, figure out which one you like. They got like different options. They have funny names for the different subscription tiers. It's like the casual, and then like the player, and then the pro pack.
The pro,
which that's got to be short for prostitute.
That can't be professional. Which also the same. Prostitute would be a professional.
Exactly.
All pros.
But that one, it's like 90 pills a month or something.
Jesus, dude.
Yeah, no, it's like 26. It's one for they program in like maybe 1 or 2 days off, but
good. Yeah, it's good. You got to have recovery days when you're training that hard.
Well, I'll tell you, of all the things we've been a long time sponsor of the show. They're good
great.
Folks over there. We've done business with them for a while. I say on the back end, they're a trustworthy company. And certainly on the front end as well. So if you're interested, go try it out. You never know what you might find in life.
Yeah. Let it fly.
Yeah. And we're back. And we're discussing the tragic, heartbreaking news that the Biden administration has decided to put a gay man on the moon.
Yes. And we're fed up.
Yeah.
We were hoping for more white men.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's only so much that you can do with
I'm just imagining, we see the first moonwalk, this guy. What are his wrists doing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least on the moon, walking is kind of like skipping anyway.
I know, right?
So I think
how bad is that going to look?
That's going to be.
We'll be the laughing stock of China.
It's going
to. I always love it when people say that, either about Biden or Trump. They're like, China is laughing at us.
It's like they don't.
It's like I don't think China laughs at anything.
No, I don't think most of them speak English. I don't think they know what's really going on.
I don't think China is laughing.
Also, their internet's pretty restricted. I don't even think they can see most of what's going on.
We have done a lot of laughing at China.
Oh yeah, yeah. For most of the '80s,
we've been laughing at China a lot. I don't really have. They're like, what? They're laughing at our president.
Yeah.
It's like we've laughed at basically every piece of their culture.
Every occupation that you could have, we've had some sort of saying.
Any part of China has been a subject of ridicule in popular American culture.
What we said about nail techs alone in this country could be accompanied to what they're saying about the president. Yeah, it's equal. It's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, that is one thing that China would not do is they would never put one gay man on the moon. They would put all of them or none.
Yeah, I don't know. What's the state of China's space program?
Probably pretty hard to find out. I think they probably keep that pretty close to the chest. I want to say they're launching satellites all the time. They did something recently. Maybe it was India claimed to like put a guy on the moon.
What if China or Russia, they also have a secret moon program, our gay guys end up there at the same time and they fall in love.
And they never want to go back.
And then it creates world peace.
I don't know if that would create world peace. I think a bunch of Christians would be like, there's gay guys fucking in the heavens. Get them.
What if that's the answer to all of the world's problems is letting two gay guys fall in love on the moon?
And that's the new live stream, like the 1969 moon landing.
Can you imagine how mad Italians would be at that?
It's one small step for man.
More so than Christians. I think
Italians, the wife beater, gold chain
Italian guy leaving his pizza restaurant at the end of the night. He's just wiping his hands. He's in the alley and he looks up at the moon. And he's like, it's fucking disgusting.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
This is fucking disgusting.
Yeah. Luigi, look at this. They're fucking right there on the moon.
Yeah. I can't stand it. I might even be looking at it happen.
They got to go to the dark side of the moon for that. You want to fuck on the moon.
Do it on the Pink Floyd part.
Do it on the Pink Floyd part of the moon. Yeah, it would be tough to fuck on the moon. It'd be like fucking on the beach, I think. You'd get sand in there. It would be a tough time.
It is funny, too. And I offered the disclaimer of I'm not racist, but maybe I am. I don't know. When I imagine, because I know it's not the case, but they're like, oh, they're sending a black lady to the moon. I imagine a black lady. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's
like at a central casting
like Wanda
black
Sykes
woman.
up on, it's like
right. With an attitude.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And it's not that at all. It's probably some severely autistic woman that was raised by adoptive Korean parents
and went to Harvard and has never had a day off. And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would be much more fun if it was like somebody they just took right off of like Maury or Jerry Springer and just was like put him in a spacesuit and sent him to the fucking moon next to a gay guy that they just pulled out of a club one night. That's the real what you want to watch. You know? And then you just get any captain of a football team, white guy, to go in and try and lead them, and nobody gets along. That would be fun.
They really got to make sure they don't die on that trip.
Yeah, it would be tough because all the conspiracies will come out and be like, actually, one of the guys who worked on the space shuttle is a racist, homophobic piece of shit, and a lot of people say he didn't screw it in tight enough so that they would die.
Well, I mean, they would just say Elon Musk.
Yeah, that's true. It would just be Elon.
Because he built the rocket.
I'm sorry. I told him no gays.
And you know what's funny? That will happen. If this does blow up or something, people will legitimately say that. They will honestly think that.
Yes.
That Elon Musk would spend billions of dollars building a rocket
just to kill
two.
One of each.
They believe that.
I watched a guy. I was walking down the street and a Cybertruck came down the street, and I watched him fight his initial reaction because he was with his kid, and he goes, "Oh, whoa, look at that!" And his kid's like, "Wow!" And he's like, "Oh no, son, that's Elon's. We don't like that. Boo, Elon, boo!" And I was like,
that?
Yeah, he did it. I was like, he was like trying to get people around him to like boo the car. I'm like, for what? You can't just enjoy the fact that there's this crazy looking car driving down the street that looks like it shouldn't exist.
It looks really stupid.
It's silly, dude. It's so silly to turn a trapezoid into a car and pretend it's awesome.
Well, it's like it's taking like design cues from like outdated stealth technology.
Yeah.
It looks like the fucking Nighthawk.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, we don't even need to build stealth fighters that way anymore.
Right. We don't. Yeah, exactly. So, but it was funny to watch the guy resist his initial reaction, like, "Oh, that's cool that I'm seeing one of those," but oh wait, we don't like that, son. To like adjust his morals just because he read an article about this guy that says he's racist or some shit. You know?
Yeah, I'm not an EV guy. I don't really like them.
I don't have one. I drove a Tesla once, I actually accidentally shit myself while I was driving. I was in
On
LA.
the test drive?
No, it was a rental. It was a rental, and I got like a free upgrade
that
to
would
get
be
the
an
Tesla.
amazing test drive.
Guys next to you, it's like, look at the screen. It's 18 inches.
Yeah. He's like, what's that smell? You're like, oh, it must be the electricity.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the vents are
the
weird.
batteries,
Yeah.
probably. I think it's the lithium.
I used the auto drive feature on the highway to wipe my ass.
What?
On the highway.
How does that work?
Like I always carry like some baby wipes in my like
so you
carry
put
on
them
when
all
I'm
around
traveling.
the tire and
so
then
I
fucking
no,
jack
I
the
you
car
just
up?
I was on the highway, so I just put on the fucking self-drive mode. It stays in the lane,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm fucking scooching the chair back, getting in there, trying to
now
do
see
it. Just,
if you had died doing that,
yeah.
if there were like some fat white retard was wiping his ass and died, then we could get away with killing a black lady on the moon.
Exactly.
There would be balance in the universe.
Right, exactly.
You know?
But
They'd be
since
like,
I lived,
Elon knows, we'll take one of theirs and we'll take one of ours.
Exactly. Eye
With
for
my
an eye.
technology, yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, luckily I lived and
You remember that story like now 15 years ago about the astronaut love triangle?
No.
There was two astronauts that were like married or something,
Okay.
and then the male astronaut was having like an affair with a different lady astronaut, or maybe it was like the one guy was fucking another guy's wife. The whole point of the story is that one of the astronauts drove multiple states away to do this like quick overnight killing and get away with it, so they would have like an alibi because there's no flight logs.
Right.
So they drove, and to make the drive all in one shot, they wore their special like astronaut diaper so they could shit and piss themselves while driving. Which it's like you had to get gas.
Yeah. Yeah, you could have stopped
Just
at a rest
leave
stop.
the pump going.
Wear a mask and walk into the bathroom.
Yeah,
like,
right.
What are we talking about? Just what a crazy solution to not only to go to kill somebody, but to kill somebody with a diaper full of shit is a pretty wild way to get your first murder done. You know?
Yeah.
I'd want clean pants if I'm killing somebody.
I rewatched Apollo 13. I think I said that at the beginning, but I put that on.
Oh, Apollo 13.
Yeah, somewhat recently.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
That's great. Tom Hanks is great in that.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones too where they really talk about things that are like earlier where we're like, oh, that was realistic and they did it right. That was one where they stayed towards the realism, and I liked it. Because it is kind of a documentary in a sense. It's like that mockumentary feel where you're watching through the whole thing. And
well, it is, because I watched it as a kid, and you're like, oh, it's a story about a space flight going wrong, and then they can't go to the moon. That's sad.
Yeah.
But it is, I mean, it's better that happened.
Totally.
The actual story is so much more impressive than going to the moon.
Yeah, and it does leave
building
you...
a junkyard spaceship, like,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And it does leave you, like, at that feeling in a movie, you're like, damn. Like, that's what me makes a good movie is when, like, you feel like it's going to go one direction and then it doesn't. You're like, oh, that's fucking great. Like, that's, like, you want them to land on the moon. Even if you know the story or don't, you're like, oh, they'll figure it out. They'll get there. Maybe they'll die on the moon, but they'll at least get to touch them. And then he doesn't. And he just has to live with the orbit and going back around yeah. I do like that in a movie where it doesn't just... I think that's why I don't fuck with the Marvel movies as much, is it just feels so cookie cutter that, like, even when it's against all odds, it's the good guys win, you know?
Yeah.
Eventually, even if it takes 2 movies, eventually the good guys win. Where I think some of the best movies is the good guys don't win, you know?
Yeah.
Like you look at that the Rogue One Star Wars movie, it's like shit like that.
The Rogue One was that one in between?
That was the one in between.
That is the only Star Wars movie I like.
Yeah, exactly, because it ends with everybody fucking
dying.
dies. Everyone dies,
and
they accomplish their mission, but you don't get to have that he gets the girl moment.
Yeah,
like
I've said that before. That's the only Star Wars movie that I'm actually like, oh yeah, this is.
Yeah, it's great. And they came
cool.
out with this. I think the Andor series is similar to that as far as like they fuck around a little bit more. But
that now they've like I have no idea what's going on with it. I haven't paid attention at all. But like the Star Wars IP, they call it.
Yeah,
is so stupid to begin with.
Totally.
That there's no way it is not absolutely fucking retarded.
It just
whatever they're doing has got to be terrible.
It gets real. It's like every other show they put out is unwatchable, silly. Like a 11-year-old girl is outrunning 3 grown men through the forest, like shit like that. Where you're just like, man.
Well, coming up with aliens has got to be like the laziest creative work you can do.
Yeah.
Coming up, especially because anything prior to 1980, it was just like okay, well, he's not Chinese, but he's Chinese.
Yeah, this one's clearly
Jewish.
Yeah, these are clearly the black guys.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Star Wars didn't have black guys though.
Not until the new era.
And what are the black aliens?
Well, no, they had black guys.
In fact, the only science fiction,
Lando.
yeah, but he's a black man.
Yeah, he's a black guy.
Yeah, the only science fiction I can point at where there is a racial stereotype of an African American that's like supposed to be an alien is the Transformers movies.
Oh, okay.
There was like the two like Doo-Doo and Mudflap.
Yeah.
There were like these two like
clearly.
No, their names were like Skidmark and Kaka, and they had gold teeth and monkey ears, and the teeth would like hang loose. And they'd be like, "Damn, Bubba B, where'd you get them wheels?" And I was shocked.
Yeah, and it just
because the movie came out in like 2007.
Right.
And I was like, "We're about to have a black president."
Yeah, they were trying to squeeze one in before.
This is from like the 1940s. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. But I think with stuff like Transformers and Star Wars, they'd have so many rules to follow when you're making a new one that you kind of have to, like, those guys are probably characters in some comic book or whatever.
People are watching this and they're saying, Jar Jar, what about Jar Jar? Jar Jar is Caribbean.
Jar Jar is clearly Caribbean.
He's not an African.
Misa Jar Jar Binks.
Right.
Like that, yeah.
He's not. I know the Misa makes it a little bit kind of a slave thing, but he's supposed to be Caribbean.
Yeah, he's a waterer. They live underwater.
He lives underwater. Yeah. He's got the style of like a Jamaican guy.
Yeah.
You know,
the floppy ears may as well be some dreads tied together in the back. Yeah, exactly. Right. Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. They really don't have any.
No, I don't think so. Not as far as you'd be like, oh, that's definitely the fucking like, what are they doing here?
In the way that like Lando's co-pilot might be the worst of all of them.
Yeah.
That like the Vietnamese fish guy.
It's pretty tough, dude. It's a trap.
And that's the guy you take with you to blow up the Death Star.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Han's like, take my ship, but take care of her. He's like, oh, no problem. I'll find the most Chinese pilot I can.
Yeah, let's get incognito with this Chinese fish head pilot.
Yeah, oh, okay. That's all he says.
We are having a problem.
Okay.
It's like, this guy's not Japanese?
Yeah,
you telling me?
Yeah.
He's made a sushi. This guy's not Japanese?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't think I can pinpoint any of them.
Yeah.
But
fun. That is, I mean...
Oh, I guess we should get plugs out of the way because I haven't been on the show in a while, so I don't know how the ticket sales are doing. But I will be at Hyenas in Fort Worth, July 20, either the 26th, 27th, 28th, or 27th, 28th. I don't know. But it's a tiny room, and it's a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun last year. Come out.
Nice.
That's a show I'm looking forward to. And then I will be in September at the Lincoln Theater in D.C. and the Wilbur in Boston, one night before the other. I can't remember the order. You go to mall.dog/live-shows, live-shows. If you want to get tickets, I think those are close to sold out. They're talking about adding a second show, but
nice.
Personally, I would like to cap it.
Have you done the Wilbur before?
I did the Wilbur last year. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm all over the road. I'm doing Zanies in Chicago, Comedy Vault out in Batavia, House of Comedy, Minnesota, and a bunch of other stuff. So DrewDunnComedy.com for all the dates. At Drew Dunn Comedy on socials for all the other content.
You do
and
Acme?
stuff like that. No, I haven't done Acme.
Yeah.
No, I've been the House of Comedy people have been really good to me, so I've just been doing their stuff. But that said, there's that. It's in the Mall of America, so it's a totally different.
No, I've been there. I know. Yeah, I've been to the Mall of America, and I've seen the club.
Yeah, I've heard great things about the Acme Club.
Acme's
too.
Great.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, Minneapolis got a good comedy scene out there.
It's a great city. I love it.
Especially you go to Madison. You're right in the Midwest
I was
area.
always sour on the Midwest, if only because it's like it's just in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Well,
especially, I mean, talking to comics out there and them having to do 8-hour drives to do bar shows when you first get started is like crazy.
Yeah. Texas is like that too.
Yeah. I was in New England. It was all 2-3 hours or less just to do everything.
But Minneapolis is a great city.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Yeah,
it's great.
It is
interesting.
It's a shame that the entire city was burned to the ground.
Yeah. I was there shortly after that. I was there in like late 2021, and dude, it was dystopian to a point where if you've ever been to the downtown Minneapolis with all the skyscrapers and shit like that, almost all of them have sky bridges connecting the thing, and and then you go down to the street and it's like a totally different world. It really feels like, wow, the upper class rich working people up here and then everybody else down on the streets.
Oh, really?
Like,
I guess when
dude,
I've been to Minneapolis, it's been such a ghost town downtown. The first time I saw those sky bridges, I was like, let's go, because I'm an idiot. So when I go on tour, you know, it's like, oh, you should do something so that you don't get depressed in the hotel room.
Right.
But then the stuff I have an interest in doing is like, it's always dumb.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and I end up just like going to Barnes and Noble.
Right,
you know?
right.
But I saw those sky bridges and I was like, let's fucking go, dude.
It really, like, people will drive into
confusing.
that city, park, get into their building, go to 5 other buildings, and never actually be in the city.
Yeah, but you have to know how to navigate them, because I did one sky bridge and I ended up in a lobby with like 5 escalators that go nowhere.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it's all, and then you go in those places and all the stores are like off-brand Subway. You're like in a GTA game.
Right.
You know?
Right, yeah.
Where it's like Sonoro's Pizza.
You're
what
like,
the
what
fuck
the
is it? Yeah. Places to buy stamps and Beanie Babies.
Yeah, companies that you're like, how are you still in business? Like, what is the rent on this building that you're selling 9 Beanie Babies a week and still paying rent?
Yeah, I was in Columbus in a big, or either Columbus or Cleveland or something. I was in Ohio somewhat recently. I forget, but I stayed in like a hotel that was like in one of those conference center hotels where it connects underground to all the other hotels.
Yeah.
It was the same thing. Very depressing. I really hate being in hotels away from home.
It's tough. I mean, especially when you enjoy your life. Like, if you like being home, you like being with your friends or family or whatever it is.
I love my apartment, dude.
Yeah.
I love being at home. And that's like the other thing too, is like, you know, I've been skipping the pod, like I've been doing like, I mean, I've been doing things, but just nothing publicly for like almost a month, and it's the best I've felt in a decade.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just took this whole past week off. So like, I just took like 10 days, didn't do any stand up, didn't fucking look at text messages or emails or anything like that. I just fucking locked it away, and because you can get so burnt out of anything. And I think, like, for me, taking that time and coming back, like, I'm excited to do shows again. I'm excited to write new jokes and do the whole thing, where if you just stay in that day in, day out grind, like, I think, sure, like, that's the culture where you got to hustle, you got to work hard, blah, 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 but you are squeezing a sponge with no fucking water left in it, that you got to fucking fill that thing up every once in a while, you know, or you just go crazy. Like, you don't have to have this hustle culture in comedy. You have to have moments where you can put it on and really drive the boat for a while, but then you also have to be able to like reset.
Yeah, well, it's the intersection of like everything is like gig economy, and also you have to be like a fucking influencer or whatever.
I know,
and, it's
and I resist
that. I don't like me.
I don't like
who I am. I don't want to have to sell that to people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I don't want to have to put every one of my thoughts on the internet at the moment I have it, and then just look like an idiot.
I used to sell
later.
Shitty cell phones, and then I sold shitty cars, and now I'm selling a shitty person, and it's the same feeling. I just don't want to do it.
You feel like you're getting one over on them.
Yeah, just don't buy it. Just don't.
Yeah, right.
Just don't.
Go somewhere else, please. Leave T-Mobile.
Yeah. What are you doing for lunch?
Nothing planned right now. Just chilling. Yeah.
I'm gonna try and get back in the gym. I say that, you know, I mean, there's been a thing I've been working on a lot.
Yeah.
So I've had like probably 3 weeks off from the gym now, and I'm disappointed because I finally got like, I'm 35, so I didn't think I'd be able to like get a regular gym routine back in, and I did this year, and I feel good. I got fatter, but I was also working out again.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, I do way better with the gym when I'm on the road.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I played baseball my whole life, and I played like through college and stuff. So I just got so burnt out of the workout regimen that like once I started working a desk job and doing comedy, which now I just do comedy, but the desk job is like death for your going from being an athlete to like just wanting to get a cookie halfway through your day so you don't want to fucking jump out the window and kill yourself. Was like a hard transition for me.
I mean, that's like stand-up and podcasting might be like the least physically active job.
You have to force yourself to do it, and that's for me. Is I know I'll feel better after I work out. Whether it's I got a bike, so like I'll bike around. That'll be a good workout. Just go to the park and do that. But yeah, it's hard, man. I have to really force myself to fucking do that shit. But I'm way better on the road. If there's a hotel gym, I'm there. To have to go and put all my shit on and walk to the park or go, 5 blocks away to the gym.
I have a Lifetime Fitness membership, and that helps a lot because they have a lot of they have a sauna. It's nice.
Oh, that's great. Love a sauna.
When I would take Racine on the road. We would go out together, and then we would do the hotel gym sometimes.
Yeah.
No, Mike's gonna get mad that I fucking So it's very fun. Like, he'd be like, yeah, I'm thinking about maybe, hitting the hotel gym. And I'd go down there with him, and he would have his, like, ill-fitting workout clothes.
Yeah, that were from from 2
this,
mics ago.
Just his Homer Simpson body on like I'm like, you're making me feel worse about exercise. I want to be. Yeah.
If this is what it leads to, let's just stop now.
No, he's in great shape. I don't.
No,
his clothes look good.
Yeah, he looks great.
Yeah.
Love Mike. Shout out Mike Racine.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know. The fitness stuff is fun. It's like I get in a routine. I get locked into stuff, and then once I break it,
when was the last time you've played baseball? And I mean, in any regard, like batting cages, or just throwing the ball around.
I just went to the batting cages for the first time in a while when I was in Colorado. We went and did like some mini golf with a couple of my buddies that live out there, and they had like the little fucking put a quarter in, throw 10 pitches at you kind of thing, and that was fun. Before that, there's this adult men's league. Once they play every Sunday up in New England. So if I'm up there doing shows, I'll link up with them. I've played like one game a year with them over the last few years, kind of thing. And that's fun. But my body
gets really
gets
hard on your body.
Well, because I was a catcher for most of it. So that's what I like to do. I enjoy doing that, putting the gear on, calling the game, and talking shit to the batters and the umpire and shit. That wrecks me. My knees, my hips are fucking
it's great.
Ruined.
I got like a bag of balls like 2 years ago, and then me and Adam and some other people, we just went out to Prospect Park. Just did like home run derby.
That's fun.
The next day, I feel like however the bones between your forearm and your upper arm connect, it like was separated.
Right.
It was like
just a dangly.
from throwing the ball around, because it's like this novel movement, that in your head you're like, I did this when I was 8.
Totally.
But
you also forget how sore your arm was back then. If it was if you're in the routine of it, you get used to it. But if you go pitch 100 pitches, your arm's fucked the next day.
I feel like it's the connective tissue is dried out. But the flip side of that is also I am much stronger as an adult than I was. So
totally.
I can do things with way more force. So
exactly.
It's not even,
Yeah, for me it was like my arm was always my like a strength I had. I struggled to be a good enough hitter to like play at the next level. But I had like flavors or tastes of trying to go pro with it. Like when I was in high school, I would bullpen catch for the Toronto Blue Jays AA team, which was up in New Hampshire. So I'd go from my high school practice, go up to the stadium, change in the fucking utility closet, and then go sit out in the bullpen and talk with the guys and warm dudes up before they went into the game and shit. So that got me a little bit of attention on like the scouting side of stuff, but I was just never a good enough hitter to hit at that next level. So halfway through college, I switched from catching to pitching. And that just fucked my arm up. I just ended because it's a whole different motion. You go from throwing like this to like a nice.
What is it about pitching that all pitchers end up needing surgery at some point? Is it the mechanics of the movement
if you don't
itself,
learn proper mechanics early on, you're just putting pressure on some point in your body that's going to fuck it up. And it's just repetition. It's especially in my generation coming up, it's like now it's all pitch counts. Like when you were in Little League now, if you watch the Little League World Series, they all have pitch counts. So like the pitcher is not allowed to throw more than 75 pitches. He has to get pulled out after that. Back in my day, there was kids throwing 120 pitches, 150 pitches a game just because they were the coach's son or the best kid on the team or whatever. Yeah. And then that kid needs Tommy John surgery by the time he's fucking 15.
Yeah. And what do they actually do with that? They reinforce a ligament in your elbow?
They take something from your ankle or your knee or something, and they put another ligament into your elbow. It's an elbow thing. My problem that I had was my shoulder. So because it was a different arm motion, and I was going from throwing 20 hard throws a day down to second base to 100 per day. I basically just started having this shooting pain come down my arm when I'd warm up, and then it would go away, and I'd be like, all right, that's fine. And it would get worse and worse. It would take longer and longer to go away. And then my velocity was going from high 80s, low 90s to low 80s. I just couldn't throw the ball hard anymore. Go to the PT people and all that, and basically my back muscles were wearing out, so it was no longer holding my shoulder blade against my back. Those muscles wear out because they're tired.
Scapular dystrophy, is it
something like that? Yeah. And it puts all the stress on your tendons. So there's 4 major tendons that connect all that, and I could feel them. They were so swollen. I could pick them out individually. It was wild. And then I had the option. I was going into it was fall of my senior year of college. I just transferred from a D3 school to a D2 school. And I I had the option to like redshirt for a year, do another year of college, which I already knew I wasn't going to use my fucking dumbass marketing degree because I was going to school to play baseball. That was the objective. And then had the choice, redshirt or just quit, and then just said fuck it, quit, and started doing stand up like 2-3 weeks later, something like that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
very nice. Yeah, you got to be careful of those novel movements in your 30s.
Totally.
I did the same thing happened. I went to Dave and Buster's and just did the super shot or whatever the fuck it is, and then and I was younger too at the time. I think I was like 26.
It's funny because Dave and Buster's got me too because they have the fast pitch thing there where you can just throw the ball down the little tube and see.
And I remember waking up the next day. I'm like, what the fuck happened to my arm? And it was just it's just from that.
12 basketball shots.
Yeah, because I mean, I would stay in the gym. I've been in the gym mostly like through my adulthood.
But it's the motions that you don't normally do that fuck you up.
Yeah. So if you're only lifting weights a certain way over and over again.
Because I'll do that. I'll go play like long toss with my buddy and just play catch, and then the next day your arm just feels like it's 1,000 pounds. Like there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
What I did for a while, there was a Boston comedy co-ed softball league when I was coming up, which was fun. So it was all the comics from the New England scene would just come together. We had like 5 or 6 teams. We'd all just go play together on Tuesday nights. That was fun. Slow pitches I can still get into a little bit because you can just fucking whack the ball. There's no pressure. Like
what really amazes me, and I don't think this is a thing anymore. This was more of like a Brooklyn thing maybe 10, 15 years ago. But like the guys that moved to Brooklyn to get a job at Vice who would have their midlife crisis and then start skateboarding again.
Oh, that's crazy.
And I'm like, you're begging for something.
Yeah, your knees are gonna go. Your ankle, something's gonna explode, and you're not gonna be able to be back on the board in 3 weeks like you were when you were a kid. This could be life-changing injury for you at this point when you're, high 30s, low 40s, and you're fucking dropping 10 feet just so you can hit the rail or watch this, dude. Like you're fucked. What's the point? I get if it's fun. You're at you're doing little things here and there. You're fucking around hitting little rails and shit. But to go to like a skate park and try and hit a half pipe when you're in your 40s is so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how they do it. But I mean, I guess like Tony Hawk still skateboards and he's 75 years old.
Yeah, how many dudes do you think thought they were going to get the video game by now? They were
going to do a different one?
Yeah, they thought like maybe, all right, Tony Hawk will have his era, and then it'll be fucking Bob Burnquist.
It's so funny because that's just the parallels between that and comedy. And just like that's the most depressing thing about there's never been more opportunity, but it's like every new opportunity has like such a small window. There's like a million tiny windows.
Totally. Well, our celebrities don't fucking die anymore. They all get healthy and try to live to be 150 years old.
Well, that was the other problem too. Like this is more of a problem prior, like 10 years ago in comedy, is that you look at, I mean, still some clubs now, you look at their calendar, and these are the same comics you were booking every year 15 years ago.
Right.
Now, I'm not going to make an argument because those guys got bills to pay.
Sure.
Kick them out and get somebody new in. Especially if the somebody new is going to be like I guess now, like there's like some girl that went viral for talking about how she fucks or something.
Sure.
And now they're like booking her to do an hour in comedy clubs.
Yeah.
And it's like that is a level even beyond the TikTok thing because it's like this was just someone that was caught in a viral moment.
Right.
Like the TikTok people, at least they've been producing content.
Right.
They can go on stage and say, hey, remember this video that I did? Or let's watch them.
Yeah.
Now it's like, hey, I'm the person from the article.
Totally. Like how long till the Haktua girl's putting out a fucking
That's
special?
What I mean. That's who's doing it.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's a business. It's all money. They're just trying to.
Oh,
they're
sure.
like, we're just trying to get eyes on this. If we could say we had the Haktua girl,
I understand that, and I'm not saying like, don't book her over me.
Sure.
But
it comes down to the agents, really. The agents, it's the salesman that's going like, we can make some fucking money off this. Fuck Nick, let's get her in.
I'm just trying to make a counter argument to saying, talking about clubs still booking the old comics that never get out. But with like the window thing, it's like, it was podcasting. Like when we had success with Cometown, people would be like, what'd you do? And I'd be like, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have no idea.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And anybody that tells you knows what they did, they don't. It's like,
they're looking backwards and figuring out what they'll be like, oh yeah, that's what we have. In the moment, you're rarely that calculated.
And then you still talk to agents and they'll be like, you got to be doing crowd work clips. And it's like, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
The guys that figured out the crowd work thing, there's like, that's,
They got it. They got their market.
One or two
you might have a clip go viral or two, but that doesn't mean it's going to change your bottom line or your ticket sales. Like, totally.
Yeah.
And it is. It's about, we talked about this a little bit, but it's like, you got to just put your head down and make what you're going to make anyway, and hope there's enough people that enjoy what you make that it turns into a career. And if not, be funny enough that you can do cruise ships until you die or kill yourself. You know, like that's.
Yeah, my thing is more. I would rather do the stuff I enjoy, and then if it's not lucrative, then I mean, I don't even know what it would look like, but I would rather just go get a day job. I would rather hate the thing that I'm doing if there was no possibility that I could ever like it.
So you'd rather, like, instead of like having to do, live in Vegas for like 5 years or something like that because you got some show going on, you'd rather like
I would literally rather stay here and just work production on commercials.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, especially when you can have an actual career like that on the back end rather than like having to go work at Best Buy.
I did it. I PA'd, but through doing this, I've like met enough people and like I have enough knowledge that I could. Those jobs don't pay bad.
Right.
Working in production on commercials, there's always plenty of work. I mean, it would pay the bills.
That's
hopefully I don't have to do that, but
Yeah, that's always the goal. But it is nice to have a baseline, and I think that both like that motivates me to want to work harder, knowing that the alternative is not what I want. So
that was actually kind of when I started, because I would like PA on commercials. I would just drive camera trucks and stuff.
Yeah.
And the guy I worked with, the guy who got me into it, he was a comic. He moved to New York to do comedy. But PAing can actually be fun, especially on commercials, because it's like the investment is low. Commercials are shot in 3 to 5 days,
right?
And it's a very fast-paced work environment. Everyone there is essential, more or less. I mean, it's, people count on you. So it does for those 3 to 5 days. You're like, yeah, let's get this done. Let's work hard. Let's and
you can see the end of the road of it right there, rather than these like long productions, 12-hour days and nothing. And
it is fun, and it's always different. And it's like even though they're commercials, it's like sometimes there's like a celebrity or you're working on this. You're watching, especially like the grips or the camera department figure out some kind of creative solution to something. It's cool to watch.
And it's different problems every day, and
yeah. But the trap with that, especially because I would recommend it to other comics, I'm like, look, this is good. It pays $200, $250, sometimes $300 a day. You know, it's like at the time my rent was nothing. It was like I was paying $450 a month.
Amazing.
And so it's like I'd work 6-7 days a month, and my rent would be covered, and then everything else is bonus.
Right.
And because it's fun and there is a path forward to move up, it's like I knew at the time, it's like I can't allow myself to move up, because then
you're trapped.
Then I'm
you're
in.
I feel that I have to. I mean, going from baseball to this, I function working towards some impossible dream that I need to have that be my thing, because if I just go, I just got to do this job for 25 years and then I can retire and chill, like I'll go crazy. I can't function that way. I have to be scheming and trying to figure out a path through something to achieve hopefully something new, something fun, something exciting, that I'm not just locked in like everybody else.
Yeah, that's the right mentality to have. And then I think broadly, that's probably how everybody works.
I think a lot of I think that, but I do think a lot of people, I don't know if they're tricking themselves or if they just they're a little differently wired up there, but they can lock into their job. They find passion and love in their job, as remedial and pointless as it can be. They find joy in the relationships of their coworkers and things like that they can actually find true happiness. The way that I feel satisfaction in pursuing this, they can find that satisfaction in their life.
But that's what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's like those people aren't settling for, because there's people that find that being a social media manager.
Right.
So, like you talk. I've met social media managers, and not so much anymore, but like maybe 10 years ago, and you talk to them and they would all be like, it's actually really exciting, engagement and figuring out what works and getting people to engage with stuff.
Right.
And in your head, you're like, oh, you must be lying to yourself. But no, they really believe it.
No, they really do have a passion for that, finding out that's their puzzle. If our puzzle's trying to figure out how to make something funny or great, their puzzle is how do we optimize this or make it look right. Yeah.
Well, that being said, anything else you want to plug? Social media stuff?
No, just follow me online on social media at Drew Dunn Comedy. I post new videos every week, crowd work, jokes, podcast shit, all that. Come see me live. I'm touring for most of the summer, and then I got my first kid coming in October.
Congratulations.
And we'll figure it out
Boy
from there.
Or a girl?
Girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're deciding that you're not
I'm letting her know.
You're a sinister.
I'm raising hopefully a lesbian.
So you could make the claim that you are an abusive father.
So far, yeah. I'm really fucking her up so far. I'm whispering all sorts of hate speech through the belly, and
you have a name picked up?
I don't know if I want to tell people.
That's publicly. Sorry, I don't want to.
No, that's fine. I told my parents, and then they got a dog and named it like sorta close.
That's so annoying.
And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? It's like, and my parents buy a new dog they have like 6 dogs right now. They raise 7 kids. They finally have like 2 kids left in the house, and they buy 6
and
fucking dogs.
then you tell me the dog's name is Spot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, come on.
Yeah, well, I was going to name the kid Spot. Nobody's doing
Her
it.
name was going to be Spot.
No, they named the dog Ollie.
Ollie.
And my daughter's
name is Tony Hawk.
It's Tony Hawk. Yeah. Because I wanted her to be fucking cool.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
That makes exactly.
Sense.
Yeah. No. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to be a dad, man.
That's cool.
Next stage of life, and for me too, it's like when you're doing this world, the creative world. I always felt like choosing this path was holding up the rest of my life, as far as like I can't afford to do this, I can't afford to do that, and now to have things come together enough where I can have a kid and feel like I'm not fucked. Is exciting.
That's awesome, like dude. That's good to hear. It's more, that's the right path.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks, appreciate that, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, try to stay cool this summer, guys. Heat stroke is not a joke. It's real.
Yeah.
And until we can figure out how to get to Antarctica and colonize it, we're fucked. But yeah, thanks. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Drew.
Yeah. Thanks.
Good night.